Card Hunter here. Today we're going to talk about chase ratio in retail products. Now, I've been working on this for a while now. When I buy into blaster boxes, I try to calculate what am I paying per box price. Once I know how much I'm paying per box price, I then try to calculate what percentage of that is the price of the retail box. For example, um, a retail box is $35, 10 boxes in, say, a break, 20 boxes in a case. That means the retail price is either $350 or $700 total for the cost of that break. If I buy a team, I typically want the chase team that I'm going after to be ideally 10% of the total cost. So in a $35 box, the team would be $3.50 to get the team in that box. Um, Up to 25% or higher. I have definitely paid more. I'm paying more right now in several breaks. And there's a lot of things to think about because the more money you have onto that chase ratio, the more exposure you have to skunk, right? And then what I'll do too is I'll blend in two teams. And I'll talk about all this. I'll show you an example of this in a moment. But I want to talk about this, and I'm curious if other people do this. To me, this is very critical. And it also helps you understand when breaking does not make sense. And I'm specifically talking about Victor Wembanyama. Right now, okay, I'm seeing case breaks, and I'll show you this information, for example. Not even cases, 10 blaster breaks selling for roughly $275 to $300 for the Spurs in a 10 box break. Now, just right there, you should think to yourself, that's lunacy, because you could go buy those 10 boxes for $350. So you're risking what, $275, $300 to get just the Spur cards and leave everything else off the table? That's crazy. Conversely, right, what I've seen and what I've been able to take advantage of is while people are eating up the Spurs spots, the Rockets and the Pistons are going for roughly 10% of the cost, $3.50, $30 for a 10 box break for the spot, which is really good when you think about the possibilities. Now, the reason I'm sharing all this with you is for me, when I go break, I'm looking at, again, I'm not breaking flawless, I'm not breaking NT with a strategy, I'm breaking cards, products like Prism or Chrome, where they're going to be base cards, and base cards still have value in these rookie chase categories, right? Specifically CJ, right? CJ is a great example. CJ's a 20, 40, $50 card in a base raw. So there's some instant return. And I'll do a separate video later on talking about why do people pay so much in the beginning? Why is Victor's card $100? And why do we all know it won't be $100 in 30, 60, 90 days? Why do we know that? But why do we continue to have, why does that continue to happen? I can answer that for you shortly too. Be a separate video though. So going back to this, let me go ahead. I'm going to pause real quickly and share some numbers with you. Okay, so I got up here right now. These are comps for Texans box breaks. Now, these are mega breaks, megas right here. These are blasters. So pay attention to the differences, right? Blasters, 20 box blasters. I pulled these three examples right here. 20 box blaster, okay, basically talking about $700 for a case. These are 20 boxes, okay? Well, let me pull my calculator up here for you. So if it's $700 and I spend, say, $217 divided by 700, 31%. That's what I'm paying. I'm buying the rights. I'm paying 31% of the entire retail amount of the box just to specifically get the CJs and CJs only. That's a high ratio to pay. Now, and the reason for that is what's its return, right? How many of those base cards you have to hit? How many silvers? How many shinies you have? That all comes into another ratio that I use. But this is very critical for me to understand. Now, this is what I'd say is the uncomfortable level. I would rather chase Carolina, who's going to be around 10 or 15%. I don't have an example in front of me. Let me go ahead and pull up for you this one. Here's Victor Wembanyama. Right, this is the Spurs. Now, the key here, guys, this is a half case, 10 boxes. So remember, 10 boxes means $350. And if I'm paying 260, 280, well, you can already see where this is going to go, right? 260 divided by 350. 74%. That's actually low cycle. You got somebody paying 280 here, 282, 258. He got a deal, 333. That right there, you're basically giving $20 to say you can keep everything else. Because you're paying the shipping on this. It's just crazy. Now, these are the early ones that came in, and I do suspect these will continue to slide. But to me, this number has to come way down. I don't see it coming under $200 while his base is going for 100, right? The breakers are going to keep it high, and the breakers like that because people are going to pay for it. It actually has a value if you hit it, and it takes the heat off the other products. So here's what I want to share with you guys. I've already gotten engaged in some NBA blaster breaks, which I will just say this is the first time I've ever in my life seen retail out before hobby. And it was not an accident. It's definitely not being stopped. No one's preventing this because this is being shipped in cases to breakers. Blez has it, Fishing Wax has it. Like you can see, I'm getting into 10 box breaks at 30, 25, 35, $29. That's $3. This is phenomenal. This is 10% to get one of the top chase teams. Like I'll be honest, I'm going to probably use a strategy just going after the Rockets and Pistons, and fading the Spurs. I can't afford to focus on the Spurs and get the depth that I need in cases to make the numbers I need to be successful. But I do think I can do better in the Pistons and Spurs just based on this ratio information. Not to say again, I won't be doing any Spurs breaks. I've already gotten involved in a few. Um, and hope to do more in the future. I mean, here's a crazy thing. Prism hasn't even released. Prism doesn't come out until February. Like I was not planning for these blaster breaks, which I do expect these blaster breaks to again decline a little bit. We'll see. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you. The ratio, figuring out the ratio of how much you're spending on those chase teams. Other things to take in consideration, does a chase team have more than one chase player, right? One of these all you're chasing and the Texans. I'm sorry, with the Spurs. With the Texans, you are chasing CJ, but you get a little value if you get a tank. You can sell a tank off to take a little bit of the offset, some of the cost. So that's a nice thing to have in some of these box breaks. Like, comment, subscribe. Love your feedback, and love to hear if anybody else is doing the same thing, or if you got any other ideas. Here's another thing too. Right now, I'm manually crunching these numbers with spreadsheets. I would love an app that would go out there, pull down for me the prices of the Texans and 10 box breaks and calculate for me how much they are, and then I plug it right into my percentage and figure out the ratio is. Anybody else think that'd be interesting? Is there a market for breaking? I think breaking could be the new. I'll leave it at that. I'll just say could be a sport.